Ladies and gentlemen, picture this: a young man with a cowboy hat, a smile that could melt butter in a Louisiana summer, and a voice so smooth it could calm a hurricane. That's John Foster, the American Idol runner-up who somehow managed to shock the music industry more than his own finale performance by reportedly turning down a record deal worth more money than a small-town radio station's annual budget. Now, in a world where most contestants would sell their guitars just to get a one-song deal, John said, "Thanks, but maybe later." Wait, what? That's like getting invited to the Grammys and asking if they have parking validation first. But behind this seemingly wild decision lies a deeper story, one of strategy, patience, and yes, a little Louisiana stubbornness. Because sometimes the biggest tragedy in the music world isn't losing, it's walking away from what everyone else calls a dream. So buckle up, because tonight we're diving into how John Foster went from idol darling to headline mystery, and why rejecting fame might just be the most unpredictable plot twist since that time Simon Cowell smiled voluntarily. John's rise from small town to idol stage. Before the record labels came knocking, John Foster was just a small-town Louisiana kid with a big dream and a voice smoother than butter on warm cornbread. He wasn't born in Nashville or raised in Hollywood. Nope, he came straight from Addis, Louisiana, where the loudest thing on a Friday night might have been a high school football game or a karaoke session at the local diner. But this kid had something different, a blend of old school soul and southern grit that could make even the grumpiest cat smile. When he stepped onto the American Idol stage for the first time, the judges didn't just hear a voice, they felt a story. Lionel Richie nearly jumped out of his seat, Katy Perry looked like she just discovered a new brand of miracle chocolate, and Luke Bryan, let's just say the man probably saw a bit of himself in that cowboy charm. John quickly became the dark horse favorite, breezing through rounds with the confidence of someone who knew exactly who he was. By the time he reached the finals, fans were ready to see him walk away with the crown. But fate had other plans. He came in second. But let's be honest, in Idol world, second place can sometimes make you even more famous. The crowd loved him, the cameras adored him, and the record labels? Well, they were already circling like seagulls at a beach picnic. The deal everyone expected, and the internet lost its mind. When the Idol finale confetti was still stuck in people's hair, rumors about John Foster's massive record deal were already spreading faster than a Wi-Fi password at a coffee shop. Social media went wild. Some fans swore he'd been offered a $1 million contract. Others said he'd already signed with a mysterious label. One Facebook page even congratulated him before he'd finished unpacking his guitar. But here's the twist. John himself stepped in and calmly said, "Y'all, relax, no deal, yet." Talk about dropping a plot twist worthy of a Netflix finale. It turns out the so-called biggest record deal was more rumor than reality, like those clickbait headlines claiming Elvis is living in Bali. The truth? Labels were definitely interested, but no dotted lines were signed. And honestly, good for him. He didn't let the internet pressure him into a decision faster than someone trying to close pop-up ads. Still, fans couldn't handle it. They wanted the happy ending now. But John's calm response only fueled the mystery. Why wasn't he jumping at the offer? Was he waiting for a better deal, or something more personal holding him back? One thing was clear. The kid from Louisiana wasn't just a singer anymore. He was headline gold. The hidden reasons behind his rejection or delay. Now, this is where the story gets juicy, because rejecting or even delaying a big record deal in the post-Idol world is like walking past free pizza at a party. Everyone's going to stare and whisper. But John Foster, cool as a Louisiana evening, had his reasons. Sources close to the Idol production hinted that contracts for finalists aren't always the golden tickets fans imagine. They can come with creative restrictions, heavy control clauses, and, let's be honest, royalties that make you wonder if the artist gets paid in exposure and leftover merch. So maybe John looked at that fine print and thought, I'd rather keep my soul, thank you. Plus, he's always been the type to move at his own pace. This is the same guy who said fame was never the goal, music was. Imagine that, a musician who actually cares about music. Wild concept in today's TikTok world. And let's not forget, John's small-town roots run deep. His mom and dad raised him to stand firm for what's right, not just what's shiny. Some insiders even joked he was probably preying on it longer than most people take to binge a whole Netflix series. So no, it wasn't arrogance or hesitation, it was calculated patience. And in the chaotic whirlwind of post-idol hype, maybe that was the smartest move of all. The fallout, public reaction, and the tragedy begins. As soon as word spread that John Foster hadn't signed anything yet, the internet did what it does best, completely lose its collective mind. Fans went from posting heart emojis to full-blown panic like, wait, did he just reject $1 million? Some even started writing conspiracy theories that made UFO documentaries look reasonable. Suddenly, every corner of social media had a theory. He's secretly joining another label, he's quitting music, or, my personal favorite, he's forming a duet with Jelly Roll to take over country radio. The poor guy couldn't post a photo of his breakfast without people zooming in to see if it was taken at a Nashville diner. But behind the noise, the reality was more grounded. John was taking his time, staying quiet, and focusing on what truly mattered, his art. Still, in the eyes of the public, silence equals scandal. And that's when the so-called tragedy began. A media storm built not on failure, but on frustration. People love an underdog story, sure, but they love drama even more. It's the classic idol curse. One day, you're everyone's hero. The next day, you're trending because people think you messed up your big chance. But hey, maybe this small-town cowboy just had the nerve to do something most artists don't. Say not yet to fame. The defining performance. The song that stopped the nation. Before all the rumors and the label chaos, there was a single moment that showed the world exactly who John Foster was and why people fell in love with him in the first place. It was that haunting, heart-wrenching performance of "Tell That Angel I Love Her," a song dedicated to his late friend Maggie Dunn, who tragically lost her life in a car accident. When John sang those lyrics, you could hear the air leave the room. Even the judges looked like they'd forgotten to breathe. Luke Bryan blinked like he was trying to hold back tears, and Lionel Richie just whispered, "That's real." It wasn't just a song, it was a story, a prayer, and a goodbye all rolled into one. The performance went viral faster than a cat video on caffeine, and fans called it one of the most emotional idol moments ever. But here's the twist. That emotional authenticity, the very thing that made him a star, might also be why he's being so careful with the business side. He's not just another idol product, he's an artist who wants his music to mean something. You can't rush that. As one fan joked online, John's heart writes his contracts, not his lawyers. So while the industry kept pushing for headlines, John kept pushing for honesty. And maybe that's the reason his story still hits deeper than any record deal ever could. The deal he didn't sign, what it could have been. So let's talk about the elephant in the studio, the record deal that could have changed everything. Industry insiders whispered that a major label had its pen ready, with numbers big enough to make anyone's head spin. Think tour buses, custom cowboy boots, and enough PR campaigns to flood TikTok for a year. But here's the catch. Those deals often come with what artists secretly call golden handcuffs. Sure, you get fame and fortune, but you might lose your creative freedom faster than your mom loses patience when you say you're thinking about getting a real job. Rumor had it the deal would have locked John into a strict production schedule and required him to release songs he didn't write, basically turning a genuine storyteller into another factory-made hit machine. And for John, who pours his soul into every lyric, that probably felt like asking a chef to microwave frozen dinners for a living. Some fans were baffled, "Bro, it's $1 million," but others applauded him for holding out. Because while a big check can buy new boots, it can't buy integrity. And maybe, just maybe, John's refusal wasn't a rejection, it was a revolution. A soft-spoken Louisiana kid quietly saying, "I'll do this my way." Now that's the kind of rebellion Nashville won't forget anytime soon. The present. What John Foster is doing now. Fast forward to today, and John Foster might not be flashing platinum plaques or attending label meetings in glass offices, but he's doing something way more authentic. He's living the life of a real musician. No, he hasn't disappeared into the Louisiana swamps to become a banjo-playing hermit. He's actually performing across local venues, connecting with fans, and teasing new music on Instagram like a man who knows exactly what he's doing. In recent interviews, he mentioned that things are in the works, which in industry language could mean anything from "I'm signing soon" to "I'm making sure no one tricks me into singing jingles for toothpaste commercials." Either way, he's playing it smart. He's building his own momentum one genuine fan at a time, instead of relying on label hype that fades faster than viral trends. And the best part? He seems happy, relaxed, grounded, and grateful. Fans who meet him at shows say he's humble, funny, and still that same guy from Addis who just loves country music. So while the rest of the world's chasing fame, John's taking the scenic route. And let's be honest, scenic routes might take longer, but the views are always better. The bigger picture, what John's choice reveals about the industry. John Foster's decision isn't just about one artist saying nah to a fancy deal. It's a mirror reflecting the messy side of the music industry that fans rarely see. Behind all the glitter and confetti, record contracts can be trickier than a Louisiana crawfish boil menu. Most Idol contestants are rushed into deals before they've even unpacked their suitcases, leaving them with little control over their sound, schedule, or even social media posts. John, on the other hand, did the unthinkable. He hit pause, and in doing so, he exposed the truth. Independence isn't always about ego. Sometimes it's survival. The industry loves fast fame, but fast fame burns out faster than cheap fireworks. His story proves that slow, steady, and soulful can still win hearts. Even veteran musicians have quietly praised his move, saying he's showing rare wisdom for someone so new. It's like watching the quiet kid in class suddenly school everyone on how the system really works. And maybe that's why fans still root for him, because deep down, everyone loves a rebel who plays by his own rules but still keeps his manners. So yes, the tragedy might just be the industry's, not his. The real tragedy and John's defiant hope. So here we are at the end of a story that started with stardom and turned into something far more human. The so-called tragedy of John Foster rejecting the biggest record deal after American Idol might not be a tragedy at all. It might be a rare case of an artist choosing peace over pressure. Think about it. Most contestants chase fame like it's a limited edition sneaker drop, but John decided to sit back, sip his sweet tea, and wait for something real. That takes guts. The industry called it risky, fans called it confusing, but maybe John just called it freedom. Because what good is $1 million contract if it costs you your voice? He's still out there singing his truth, winning hearts the old-fashioned way. One performance, one laugh, one handshake at a time. And who knows, maybe one day when the timing's right, he'll sign a deal that fits him like his favorite cowboy boots, comfortable, classic, and completely his style. Until then, his story reminds us that success isn't just about charts or checks, it's about staying true to your sound. Or, as John himself might say with a grin, I'd rather play my own tune than dance to someone else's beat.